This is an urban hike in 6 chapters as follows.
The gates of hell.
Our trailhead for this urban hike is the intersection of Cliffside Drive and North 4th Street in Columbus, Ohio, where I parked my car. The first leg of our journey is going to take us down into and throughout Glen Echo Ravine, a 50 to 75 foot deep ravine that runs in an east to west direction. The ravine was carved by glacial meltwater between 14,000 and 28,000 years ago, and a small stream, Glen Echo Run, still courses through the bottom of the ravine, making its way west and eventually dumping into the Olentangy River. As you can see, the ravine is situated in a heavily populated area with dense residential housing north and south of the ravine. Let's drop down into the ravine and start our urban hike. Glen Echo is absolutely gorgeous, a wonderful respite of green amidst the neighborhoods and commercial areas that surround it. But it's also been a magnet for ghost stories and urban legends for a very long time. The same can be said for Walhalla Ravine, a ravine a half-mile north of Glen Echo. The first place we'll visit is called Tenpin, and the name will become obvious here in just a minute.
I don't know if you can tell on video, but that was very steep and it's all crushed shale, slippery.
I'll leave it to the viewer to do some of their own research regarding the ghost stories and urban legends of this area. I do have some links in the description if you're interested, but I'm not a believer in the paranormal, so I won't comment on it. As to deaths reported in the ravine, I didn't find reliable source citation in the materials I read, so again, I've linked them here, but I'm not going to repeat them here, and please don't take my linking them as an endorsement of their veracity.
You can feel cold air coming from in here, this culvert. This area is called Tenpin because of these 10 concrete blocks, which I think are supposed to trap debris from getting down this way. And it's the eastern edge of the park and the ravine. We're gonna go to the west now, so we gotta climb back up this steep hill, and we'll catch up with you in a few minutes. Easier up than down, but don't do that without hiking boots.
I think it's human nature to enjoy a good ghost story or urban legend, but let's ask, how do these stories become associated with a particular location, like Glen Echo Ravine? In my mind, it's all about the setting. Surrounding this ravine are quiet, quaint neighborhoods and commercial areas with restaurants and grocery stores. Other than these ravines, the topography is unremarkable, generally flat or gently sloping down to the Olentangy River. The exception are the ravines in the area, 50 to 75 feet deep, heavily forested, dark, quiet, cool, and damp. If you lived in the area, where would your ghost stories take place? where would you and your friends dare each other to adventure at night? Couple that with the creepy looking built environment here, the midnight black culvert tunnels, flowing with cool air and groaning with the sound of cars and trains above, all surrounded by the woods. You have a perfect recipe for ghost stories and urban legends. But I was just here to do some hiking and check out the graffiti. No ghost sightings from this guy.
Such an odd mashup of nature and not nature? I don't know. Humans are nature too, I guess, right? An odd mashup of the non-human world and the human world. All right, we are emerging from the ravine at this point on the northern side. And we're gonna walk through a neighborhood over here. This is all private property this way. We're gonna walk through this neighborhood and we're gonna meet back up with the creek and the ravine about a half a mile to the west. Here's a school.
Now that we've exited the ravine, we're going to make our way west on city streets before we find a way to get back down in the ravine behind a grocery store.
Okay, we're heading back down into the ravine. Like I said, about a half a mile west of where we came out of it. Can already feel the air kind of cooling down. And I'm going to show you a feature called
The gates of hell.
I'm being a little cautious down here. I don't really want to run into anybody.
There are actually two names for this area. The first is the Gates of Hell, or the Portal to Hell, and that'll be no mystery once you look at it. The other is the Blood Bowl, which, as far as I can tell, is what skateboarders call it. Again, no real mystery there if you understand that a bowl is a structure used for skateboarding, and one may well get bloody if he or she were to collide with the rusted steel in the pit near the culvert.
I'm not going to go much farther than this. You could say you're scaredy cat? And I would say, yeah, kinda. I'm not scared of like paranormal stuff. I don't think this actually goes to hell. I think it goes to the Olentangy River. But I don't really want to run into like a dude, you know, halfway to the river. This goes, as far as I know, for maybe 150 yards or so.
Let's pause it here for a second for two fun facts. A 1980s horror movie was shot partially in the Gates of Hell Blood Bowl area. It's called Beyond Dream's Door and was shot entirely in the city of Columbus. I'll link it below as the full film is currently available on YouTube. If you don't want to watch the whole thing, skip to 32 and a half minutes for the part of the film featuring this area. The second fun fact, a children's mystery chapter book series set in Clintonville called Crime Cats also contains scenes set at the gates. Book 2 is called The Dusenberry Curse, and Chapter 10 is called The Thing from the Tunnel. Here's an excerpt. Orville was awakened by a sharp pain in his ankle. He opened his eyes and found himself laying in a rocky creek bed at the bottom of a ravine. He winced as he struggled to his feet and looked around for help. He was alone. Behind him, the mouth of a large tunnel yawned, black and forbidding. Orville hobbled forward to peer in, but saw no light at the other end. A strange noise rattled out from the murky depths, and Orville backed away. Then a terrible cry roared from the blackness and echoed through the ravine. Orville shuddered and stumbled away as fast as he could. He clambered up the ravine wall in a panicked frenzy, only pausing a moment to glance back over his shoulder. That's when he saw a pair of eyes blink open in the darkness. Pretty cool.
See you next time, Gates of Hell.
Similar to our discussion about the ravine in general, I'd ask, is there any mystery to why this place is a magnet for local legends and ghost stories? I mean, really, is there any mystery to why kids and teenagers would speculate that this gaping black hole is a portal to a dark dimension? Why filmmakers and authors would set their scary stories here? For me, it's just an interesting piece of infrastructure plastered with graffiti and surrounded by woods, and if nothing else, that makes it a feast for the senses.
Hey, deer. Deer does not care that I'm here. Yo. Hi. So, what's good about an urban hike as opposed to one, you know, in the woods or the mountains? Well, we're right by all kinds of human stuff, right? We got bars, we got restaurants, breweries, even an arcade.
Since exiting the Gates of Hell, we've gone down High Street and arrived at our destination.
Okay. Played some games, drank a beer. Now the adventure continues. Let's get back to some nature for a little bit here. What do you say?
This next chapter is going to take us over to and then north alongside the Olentangy River.
Olentangy River.
Glen Echo Run, the creek running through our ravine, empties into the Olentangy River. The Olentangy is 97 miles long and runs south, emptying into the Scioto River in downtown Columbus, which then empties into the Ohio River in southern Ohio. The original name for the river, coined by the Delaware tribe that once resided in the area, is Kin Hong Shi Consipung, which translates literally to Sharp Tool River. Early settlers translated this into Whetstone River. Sharp Tool River and Whetstone River refer to the bedrock in the area, which is shale. Shale is formed from mud that has been compacted over millions or billions of years, and what results is a fine-grained stone that, when wet, is ideal for sharpening tools. In 1833, the Ohio General Assembly passed legislation to restore native names to some Ohio rivers. This one should have become the Whetstone River, but was mistakenly given the name Olentangy River, Delaware for River of the Red-Faced Paint, which had actually originally belonged to Big Darby Creek, 13 miles to the west. The river winds its way south through the city, creating a quarter-mile wide green and blue corridor and a landscape that is otherwise concrete, asphalt, and steel.
Nature. We caught a fish. It's a little baby green sunfish. We're gonna go over to this little deeper spot over here to make sure that he makes it back in okay. See, buddy? That's actually a decent size green sunfish. There he is. Again, we're gonna get him back here where it's a little deeper. Right there. Oh, freak. Look at that turtle. Thanks, buddy. I don't want to catch you today. Green sunfish. Always willing eaters. Always hungry. It's hot today. It's hot. This fish should be resting in a nice dark hole. But nope. They are out here eating. Well, I wandered a little bit off camera and caught this guy. It's another greenie. There he is. Number 5, green sunfish. This is trailer's smallest, so we'll take that as a sign that it's time to leave. Continue. Green sunfish, number 6. Back he goes. Back on the bike trail. I've got about a half a mile on this, and then about a half a mile through a huge apartment complex where I actually used to live. And then it's cheeseburger time. Nature.
This is the Olentangy Village apartment complex, and it occupies the land previously housing the Olentangy Park amusement park. It operated from 1880 to 1937 and was once the largest amusement park in the United States. It contained a dance hall, a boathouse on the Olentangy River, a large swimming pool, and 4 roller coasters. The area where Glen Echo Run entered the Olentangy was a popular picnic area just outside the park.
Well, I really wasn't sure if that burger was going to help or hurt. I mean, that was dinner, but got about a mile, mostly uphill, back to the trailhead, which is where I parked. And the first little bit here, it's helping. The energy level is back up. That was a double classic burger from Preston's burger joint in Columbus, Ohio. Delicious, highly recommended, highly decorated restaurant. So we're headed east now, away from the river. We are going to cut through Glen Echo Ravine. Once more, we have to get across the ravine one way or another, so we are going to cut through it on the way back to the vehicle. Guess I'll look for another restroom. This bridge we're coming up to here, underneath it is the tunnel with all the bird paintings. How you doing? Bird tunnel behind us there. breath. There's an air pressure change between the bottom of the ravine and the top. All right, that little urban hike took us about 3.5 hours. I started at about 4:30. It's just after 8 o'clock right now. About 3.5 hours, and I think probably something like 5 miles or so. I'll have to look at the map a little bit when I get home. But I really enjoyed that. I only did a little bit of narration kind of as we went along there, because I just wanted to be kind of mindful and in the moment and enjoying the journey a little bit. But I'll add some narration afterwards, and if you're seeing this, that means I've already done so. But yeah, that was a really good time, and we're gonna do another one again soon. We'll see you next time.